friends, thank you for joining the Guilford Public Library today on how to learn how to make a fairy lantern. And today I'm going to show you how easy it is to do. This is a great activity for a grown-up and a little one, and they will enjoy this for years to come. The first thing I did was Google fairy images on Google, and I printed it. And on this one that you're seeing here, she was kneeling and I put her inside, but for today I'm going to show you how to even make a smaller one with a smaller jar. This jar, the big one, was an old jar that I had in my house. It was an old jelly jar, perhaps a honey jar. I don't quite remember. And this one I had stored away in my pantry. So we're going to use a smaller one, and we're going to use a different fairy. This is one that I printed from Google. And as you can see, it doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to have an outline. So let's get started here. The first thing that you'll need is that Google image I just discussed. Everything that you see here minus my glue gun I got from the dollar store. So you need some Mod Podge, some glitter. You can use either a fairy lights or a tea light, twine. Also, I got some flowers from the dollar store. You need a little paintbrush or sponge for your Mod Podge. And the only thing that I already had was a glue gun. Children, if you are watching this, please be sure not to use the glue gun by yourself. It's absolutely necessary that you have a grown-up do this with you. And then I also have a pair of scissors, okay, and that was to cut out my Google image. So you're gonna just watch me shift a little bit here. Hello. All right, so let's get started. First thing I'm gonna do is remove that first one that you see there. And I'm just going to reposition things a little bit here. So the very first thing we're going to do is grab that jar, and you're going to grab your fairy image. And what I'm going to do here, and you can use regular glue or Mod Podge your image. Make sure that you have the image on the way that you want it displayed. So I want her displayed out this way, so that's where I'm going to just use a little dab of glue right on the edge here. And my glue gun is super hot, as yours will be too, so please be very careful. I'm just gonna use a part here that is not glued, and I'm gonna place her where I want her in here. So kind of want her right there. Just give it a little press. Look at that, she's there nicely. Now if you wanted to, we can also put a little bit of Mod Podge inside. Now what I did was I put Mod Podge inside of a little bowl here, and what I'm going to do is add some glitter. But before I do that, it doesn't matter if you already added your glitter or not, I'm just going to Mod Podge my fairy inside. You don't need to do this if you use your hot glue gun. I just want to give her a little bit more security in there. If you used an image that is super light and has extremely detailed wings, be very careful with this step because you don't want to rip your edges or your wings. Okay, so there we go. So now what I'm going to do is put my hand inside of the jar, so that way I can easily paint this jar. So like I said, what you're going to do is add your glitter directly in with your Mod Podge and give it a little whirl. And just go around your jar all the way around, and that's going to give it a beautiful glitter effect when you have it dry. It's gonna be very magical, guys. You're gonna love this. Now this would also make a wonderful gift. I think everybody nowadays can use a little bit of happiness, and how can you not have happiness with a fairy lantern that you could turn on at night? So all you're gonna do again is just go all the way around until your entire jar is covered. Now, if you wanted more glitter, you can tap some glitter directly on the jar and spread it with your paintbrush, or you could just put it right in the Mod Podge like I did. Okay, so that looks like I did a very good job here. I'm just going to put a little bit on the top. Okay. So there you have it. That was my second step besides gluing my little fairy inside. And I'll put this aside for a little bit. And the next step is I'm gonna put this down, and there's something called reindeer moss. I got this right in the dollar store, and I'm going to put a little bit, and a little bit goes a long way, inside the jar because I want it to look like the forest on the inside. And that's going to be so much fun. So I'm just going to add a little bit right on the inside. Now if you wanted to, you can glue that. I'm not going to glue that inside there, but you can if you wanted to. You can also add some of your flowers that you bought if you wanted to make it look like a forest on the inside. I think I would like to add a little flower inside. Now this part you need to be very careful because this glue gun is super hot, and so it might be a good idea to maybe grab a pen or a pencil. I'm gonna grab a pen because it's right next to me, and I'm just gonna put this to the side of my fairy. I'm just gonna give it a little press. Yep, and that's all set. And now I'm gonna add my tea light right inside. Now my tea light changes colors. Isn't that fun? Right inside there. Okay. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that twine that I showed you earlier, and I'm going to wrap it around the top of the jar. Now I am going to give a little space here because I would like to tie it. So here we go. I left a little bit of space at the end, and I'm just going to wrap it around until I like the way it looks. Now I'm using twine, but you are welcome to use ribbon. And any ribbon will do. Anything that makes you happy, makes you think of fairies, is going to be just perfect. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this down a little bit. All right. So again, I want to tie a bow, so I'm going to cut it a little bit further down. And now I'm going to just give that, just going to tie it, and I'm going to make my bow. So that didn't come out exactly how I wanted it, but that's okay because I could untie it if I really wanted to. But the reason I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to turn this over to the side a little bit so that you can see that. The reason I am not going to untie it is because I'm going to use one of my flowers, and I'm going to hot glue that right on there, and that's going to look absolutely beautiful because when I think of fairies, and make sure you be careful because that's going to be super hot. I think of fairies with flowers. So I think that looks really pretty. What do you think? So I'm going to turn this up again, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way around, and I'm going to put some of this moss on the bottom. Now you don't need to do that if you don't want to, but I'm just going to give a dab of hot glue, and I'm just going to go all the way around and put some of this moss. Now this is super messy. It's okay, I'm going to clean that up a little bit later, but it is really messy, so I wouldn't put it on a surface that you don't want to clean up. Or you can put like an old birthday cloth down, or newspapers. It's a great way to recycle and reuse some things, right? So I'm just going to go all the way around here with this reindeer moss. And I think it's really great that you can get all of these things from the dollar store. I thought that was amazing. I just couldn't believe it. It's just like you can make such beautiful things right from the dollar store. It doesn't need to cost $1 million to create a little happiness. And this is going to be so much fun. Now again, if you're doing this with your kids, you don't need to put the Spanish moss down, or this is the part where they can hand you the moss and then you can do the gluing. Or you may just want to do ribbon. You could do ribbon on the bottom. And that's going to be fun. That's going to be amazing. Now, I'm going to have some really happy neighbors because I'm going to gift this to some of my neighbors. I have some really great friends, little friends, that would love to have a little fairy jar. So like I said, you can make some gifts for people. Why not, right? Now, if you don't want to use a fairy, you don't have to. You can use your favorite sports team emblem. You can just Google it and just use one of those images and just cut it out, and that's going to be fun. Your sports fan will absolutely love it. Little nightlight per se, right? They're going to be so happy that you thought of them. Anything really, anything that you like. A superhero, dinosaur lover. You can print out some dinosaurs. And how fun would that be? Dinosaurs in a jar. Little nightlight. I think that would be fantastic. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much done. I just need another little piece of moss. Okay. Now, I used a lot of it before for my other jar, and it's usually not this tiny. They come in bigger pieces, but this is the remnants that I had, so this is why it's taking me a little bit longer, but that's okay. Okay. So, now what I want to do, since this is my smaller jar, I don't think I'm going to crowd it as much as I did the other one. So I think what I'll do is just put maybe, I was going to put a flower on the bottom, but I don't want to do that anymore. So all I did was hot glue the bottom of that mason jar cap. Now I'm going to put it right on top. Give it a little swirl. And you can leave the side as is, or you can put a ribbon right on here. Uh-oh. There we go. Right? Or what I would like to do is use that twine again. So I'm going to add a dab of my hot glue gun right on the side just so I can start it. Again, please be very careful. This is so hot. I'm just going to go around. This is, you don't need to do too much of it. I think just went around, what, 3 times? All right, one more time, one more time. Yay. Uh-oh. All right. You know what? For good measure, just because I'm obsessed with the way this looks, I'm gonna go around another time, but you can go around as many times as you like. So I'm gonna give it a little dab, another little dab of hot glue. And you can use just regular glue too. That's gonna be perfect. I'm just gonna use the scissors to just secure it a little bit more. And now what you're gonna do, you can either use that reindeer moss or you can use, so I ran out of reindeer moss for me to use on top. So I'm gonna use something that I had at home called Spanish moss. And it looks like this. And this is all I'm gonna do. Put some hot glue right on top. I'm gonna stick this right on top. How magical is that? I just completely transformed the top of this, made it look like nature, right? Because that's where fairies like to live. They like to live in nature. And remember, hot, so if you're gonna press down, just be very, very careful. Now, I think I would really love to use some flowers on top. So I'm gonna use this one. Just a little hot glue. Put it on the side. There. And perhaps another flower. Why not? Right? Flowers make me happy. How about this one? That looks magical, doesn't it? Oh boy. Just giving it a little swirl over here, and I'm going to put that right on top. So all I'm going to do is put, again, a little hot glue on top. And I am going to just press down. And there you have it. How simple was that? Now I wish it was dark here so that you can see all the beautiful colors and my fairy flying in here. She's so beautiful. Hold on. Here we go. So you can't tell because it's wet, and I will take a picture and post it. And don't worry if you miss some of this because I will have everything posted in a PDF file of a how-to. But this is another version that I created a little bit earlier, and this one's also drying right now. But how magical is that? Thank you guys for joining. See you next time.